Well, I don't think I'm forgetting any. Okay, there we go. Looks like it's working now. Is it? Yes. Well, as usual, I haven't prepared anything for the beginning of the stream, so, like, yeah, we get awkward silence. Intel branded sauna? No, the system's just turned off. Oh, right, yeah, because there wasn't face cam last time because I was getting cooked alive by the 14900K. Yeah, no, that system's turned off right now. Also, the weather's gotten a lot cooler. Additional microcodes update. So, I don't think they specifically said they're going to be putting out another microcode update. It said, like, they're going to put out another update, which might just be, like, an update on the investigation. Oh, and we have the first submission, so let's get right into it. Because I don't like small talk, which is basically what this is at the start of the stream. Well, this is an interesting one. It's not a CPU I've seen before. As in, yeah, I wasn't even aware this exists. So, a Ryzen 9 4900H with Radeon graphics. This is a laptop chip, right? Oh no. So, yeah, this is a laptop chip. Can you not, like, push the memory higher? Because, like, this should be able to do... Or what is it? Oh, it's CJR. Okay, that makes sense. So, 22... And I'm guessing you can't really raise the voltage either, because those timings are horrendous. At least the primaries are. But the thing is, that's, like, the funny thing is the only timing that really, like, on CJR that scales with voltage is cast latency. So, like, even if you smash a bunch of voltage into this, it'll still stay, like, TCL 22. So anyway, 22, 8, 22. So, like, TRC-DRD isn't going to really get better. TRP21, TRS21, TRC48, cool. TRD's TRDL 46, TFAL 16, WTRS 4 and 12, nice. TWR 10, TRFC 560. Can you, like, not tighten TRD SCL? I guess at really low voltage, that might be a problem. Yeah. Yeah, because usually I'd want that to 4, but, like, I guess if you're at really low voltage, it doesn't. Wait, this is... Is this single rank? Or, oh... No. Because you have your... Well... Because I think there's a 16 gigabit CJR. It's dual rank. And 4 just crashes. Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably, like, a voltage issue. Or, like, maybe Hynix has some, like, variance in that one. So... Yeah, well, this looks good for what I'm assuming is, like, stock voltage, right? Let me check chat. Because I don't think you'd be able to change the... It's 1.4. And you're stuck at cast latency 22 with 1.4? That's super weird. But it doesn't change. Yeah, that's super weird. I guess maybe something to do with SODIMMs or something then. Because, like, cache latency can sometimes be a bit strange where it, like, reacts to, like, BIOS and memory topology more than, like, really any of the other timings. Yeah, but the thing is, like, the physical layout of the memory chips really shouldn't affect the cache latency unless there's, like, a round-trip latency training weirdness going on, which is, I think, usually what causes those issues. Yeah, and I'm also surprised that you're, like, stuck at RDRD SCL5. But the SODIMMs, like, well, I don't really see why the SODIMMs would affect that much. But yeah, like, for a laptop, this looks good. Oh, it even says 1.4 volts. I'm just, like, didn't register. Any tips on lowering things? I mean, considering you're, like, if it doesn't work at, like, if you can't lower anything at this voltage, I don't, like, there's nothing I can really do about it. Right? Like, especially with timings, it's like with frequency, it's sometimes, like, terminations and drive strengths. But with timings, it's just, like, it either works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, you're just kind of, like, you're just stuck at whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, that's interesting. And I, like, for a laptop, I'd say this is good. Like, on, like, yeah, like, all of the secondaries are tight, except, like, RDRDSEL, which is real, like, I'd consider that a tertiary. So, yeah, I'd say it's fine. I wouldn't, like, try to push this further. If it doesn't want to go further, I wouldn't try to push it further. Also, somebody asked about the new, like, G.Skill 6000 CL28 kits. I've not tried those. I don't, like, first of all, I don't just get sent RAM every time a new, like, memory kit is released. That would kind of be horrible. And second of all, I don't like, I'd have to request it, and I've just not really been that interested in requesting yet another memory kit. So, because it's just more Hynix E-die, and it might be slightly better cache latency than, you know, some random kit, but I don't think it'll make much of a difference. Anyway, so Z790 Aorus Elite DDR4. Please don't tell me it's a 14900K. Good. It's a 13700K. And we're running Micron. In dual rank. Wait, this is probably, yeah, this isn't Rev B. Okay. It's like F-die or something. Interestingly enough, this actually seems to do pretty decent TRFC compared to Rev B. But anyway, 18, 21, 21, 28, 1. Ooh, 1T command rate, that's cool. Yeah, in Gear 1, yeah, that's proper 1T, that's cool. At 3700, 10, WR10, TRFC 550. Yeah, this is, like, I'm surprised that for a 16 gigabit memory chip, this is as low as it is. Then again, you are at 3700, so I guess that's still kind of low for a 16 gigabit memory chip. Like, there's 16 gigabit chips out there that, like, you'd be at, like, 600 or higher at this kind of frequency. So that's actually kind of cool. 4460 WTR. Oh, right, like, these aren't real on Intel. TWRD 2822. Okay. RTP6, TFAL 16, TCWL 16. Yep, that all makes sense. TREFI at 65,000, TCKE4. And then we got 8, 4, 7, 7, 12, 12, 12, 28, 22, 6, 6, 7, 4, 7, 7, 7. Yeah, so that looks good. Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd want to try push the frequency up higher, but I think this might be about the limit for Micron 16 gigabit F-die. Also, thanks, Christopher, for the €5. Yeah, like, the timings look good. And I have zero experience with Micron F-die myself, so, like, I don't know if this is, like, I would kind of suspect this might actually be, like, the frequency limit of the memory chips. Can boot 3733, but not stable, immediate BSOD. And I'm guessing, like, 3800 is just completely out of the question then. So yeah, I'd say that kind of sounds to me that this is just the limit of these memory chips. Which wouldn't be too surprising. But yeah, like timings look good. I mean, yeah, the primaries aren't great and the frequency isn't amazing, but the thing is, if you if you look at this and think like, oh, maybe I should upgrade to B-die, well, depending on how lucky you got with your memory controller, even with B-die, you might still be stuck at like 3800. And the only real difference would be that your primary timings and TRFC would get lower. Which is like that's not nothing, but it's not really, like, it's not going to make a huge difference. Also, I'm guessing you actually care about having memory capacity since you have 64 gigs of memory here, which is a bad idea with B-die. You do not want to be running 4 16 gig DIMMs of Samsung B-die. It runs like garbage when you do that. It might actually get stuck at like 3600 instead of 3700. Okay, next submission. We've got a Z690. Ooh, somebody using the 6133 ratio. That's rare. Yeah, there's like a bunch of memory ratios on LGA 1700 that you like basically never see. Anyway, what is this? SK Hynix with a 13700K. Wait, is this like 64 gigs? No, it's 48. Oh, it's a Z690 Gaming X. Wait, does that make sense? Because this is bad. Like the frequency is low. Like this would be, like, if this was like 64 gigs, it would make sense to me, but it's not. It's 48. The primaries are, like, the primaries in this case aren't even the biggest issue as far as I'm concerned. TRFC is way higher than it needs to be, though with that refresh interval, it really doesn't matter. You shouldn't need TRD SG12 at 6133. What's the memory voltage at? 1 point... Okay, no, that's VDD QTX. VDD... Oh, well... You should be able to run higher memory speeds than this at 1.3 volts. Unless the board is, like, incredibly bad. Which it very well could be. I don't know. I've never had one of those. But at 6133, like, TRD SG, like, 14, that's, like, for over 7,000. You should be able to run that at, like, 12. The read-to-writes, instead of 18, those should be able to do 16. Write-to-write should also be able to do 12, even 10, potentially. Write-to-read, 56 and 44, like, you could probably run, like, 50 and 40. Actually, maybe not 50, but, like, these could both be probably a bit lower. TWR pre. Actually, if you want to experiment with trying to push this higher, what I would do is I would loosen out TWR pre and TWR PDEN, like, way out, because, like, I recently, like, with the A-die kits that I've been testing with the 14900K recently, I've found that, like, running, like I also did, like, a quick performance check, and, like, low TWR pre doesn't make that much of a difference to the overall performance. So just, like, I don't know if you've tried this, but I would definitely try just, like, set TWR pre to, like, 80 or something, or even 90. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, like, this timing really isn't that important for performance, so I would consider, like, setting TWR pre, TWR PDEN both to, like, 90 or something, because you can always, like, try lower them later, and then try to push the frequency, because, like, the board probably sucks, but you are on a 13th gen CPU, and I feel like 6400 or even, like, 6800 should be possible. Then again, this board, like, this is a 6-layer 4-dimmer. So, it, like, and it's like a first-gen 6-layer 4-dimmer, so it's probably, like, this is as bad as it probably gets for DDR5 motherboards. Other than like the early release Z690 Apex boards. Those are really, really bad. Yeah, so I would probably try loosening out the WR timings and then see if you can't push the frequency any higher, because or you can like try to tighten the timings even more. But yeah. Anyway, oh, we have a super chat submission, so let's do that one. Oh, you just ran the Y-Cruncher benchmark. That's there's like a separate stress test mode, but sure. Just want to post again because I reduced some timings there and there. Wait, what is this? Samsung, not B-die. Oh, C-die. Okay. So we got 18, 8, 20, 20, 40, 62, 4, 6, 16, 3, 7, 14, 5, 8, 4, 4, 4. This all looks good. Yeah, it's single rank, so you're like you don't have to worry about the dual rank timings. Or I should say multi-rank timings, because like they technically apply. Like if you're up to quad rank, all of them apply, right? But anyway, RTP6. Yeah, this looks good. There's not really much I can tell you, because like it's like I'm guessing it's C-die, and this is about the limit of what C-die can do. You could maybe try lower the memory voltage a bit and see if you can't push the frequency higher that way, because like C-die really hates memory voltage. So instead of 1.35, you could try like 1.32, and then it might run 3666. And probably similar timings to what you have right now. You might have to loosen out TRCD. I think the best C-die kit I ever heard of was running like 3800 at TRCD 22, which is like I don't like, that's extremely unlikely to work, but like I think I've seen that with C-die once. So yeah, there's really not much you could change about this. Oh wait, you ran at 3800. Why do you 3800 at 1.39? Wait, so this isn't C-die, because if it was C-die, this wouldn't work at all. It might be D-die then. And if it's D-die, then you could actually push the voltage even higher. So yeah, you could try that. If it's D-die, you could try like 1.45 volts, and it's either going to get better or it's going to get way worse. Because if it's C-die, like honestly, C-die working at 1.39 volts at like 3800 at all, to me, is very surprising. Yeah, like I don't think this can be C-die if it even worked at 1.39. And if it's D-die, then like I've run D-die all the way up to like 1.6-ish. I'm not sure if that's actually safe for like the health of the memory chips, but at least it like kept working. Whereas with C-die, once you go past a certain point, stability, like it eventually stops posting if you keep raising the voltage. I mean, D-die does that too, but it happens at like much higher voltages. fclk over 1800. Really? Can you not run like 1866 or something? Also, you could bump the SoC voltage because you have that really low. And then like VDDG IO die, I think. Like you could bump SoC voltage to like 1.1 and VDDG IO die to like 1.05, and then try fclk like 1866 or... wait, 1866 is 3733. Yeah, so you could try like 1866. Like 1900 is not some magic number that, you know, you should always go for. when it comes to fclk. It's just like the reason 1900 is like 1900 is usually the limit for like 3000 series. And even 5000 series. And like some 5000 series chips don't even work at 1900 at all. So yeah. So for the fclk, I would basically try to raise SoC voltage and VDDG IO die. And if I remember correctly, setting CCD voltage too high causes issues for stability. I tried AT33 and it was as unstable as 1900. Yeah, but did you like try raising the voltages? It could have also been the memory sticks being unstable at that. No, you tried that as well. That's really weird. Like it could... The thing I'm wondering is like, could you have a... Like, could this be a case of the memory not... Well, no, because that would cause like straight up... Wait, you're just getting like Windows hardware errors, right? Because if you're getting like full system resets, then it's like, or like memory errors, Windows hardware errors. Huh. What's the highest SoC voltage you tried? You might have gotten like incredibly unlucky on the fclk. SoC 1.1. Well, I would have tried like up to like 1.2 on the SoC, but like there's still a chance it won't do anything. But this really sounds to me like you might have just completely lost the silicon lottery on the CPU, which is like not being able to work above 1800 is bizarre. Like it could maybe be something that the motherboard is like configuring the... Like, it could maybe be related to the motherboard, because I have, like, the BIOS does kind of play a role in the fclk stability to some extent. But it's not on, like, the level of, like, oh, there's, like, these settings in the BIOS that you should change to improve stability. It's, like, AGSA stuff, as far as I know. And it's stable in memtest 5 for over 2 hours. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Just like you either lost the silicon lottery or the motherboard is doing something weird with the Infinity Fabric configuration. Yeah. Like, unless you try another motherboard, this really... But you're on a B450 board, and it doesn't... Like, it's not going to make a huge performance difference, so I wouldn't say, like, you should go buy a new motherboard, because that's just kind of ridiculous. But, like, yeah, it's either the CPU or it's the motherboard. But I have some B450 MSI boards, and I was able to run, like, 1866 on them just fine. So I don't know... Like, I'd blame the CPU in this case. I don't think the board should be a problem for, like, 1866. For 1900, maybe, but 1866, like, nah, that's got to be the CPU, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna go find another submission, because, yeah, there's too much randomness in chat. I wonder if there's a way I could set up, like, specifically a submission queue. like a separate like parallel chat thing just for submissions. Well, that one didn't work, so that makes my life easier. This one, hopefully this will be a quick one, because it sounds like it's just going to be generic Ryzen settings. Oh. Okay, well, it's interesting, though. So, here we have another submission. Hynix E-die 2x16. Got our stress tests over here. We've got an hour of Y Cruncher. That's kind of on the low side, and 10 hours of Carhu. That's solid there. And yeah, this is DDR5 8000 on a 7800X3D. So let's go take a look at the... Actually, I could just leave it as is with the timings here. So we got 8000, 34, 45, 45, 40, 45, 85, 6, 624. Oh yeah, that's like a thing where like Ryzen for some reason like favors that configuration for TRDs, though I'm not sure if that actually works in 2-to-1 mode or if it was specifically 1-to-1 mode. I have not really been like messing, like I've not spent much time in like testing 8000 2-to-1, but anyway, or even just testing 2-to-1 mode that much. WTRS 416, that's good. TWR 48, TRFC 480, cool. SCL's at 88, that makes sense. TCWL 32, RTP, yeah, all good. And refresh interval of 65,000. 1.2 volts of SoC voltage is kind of on the high side, I think, for 2-to-1 mode. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you could lower that. And like, I'm not saying it's worth it. It's just like it would slightly reduce your idle power consumption if that's something you care about. And this is on a gene, which is why, like, you know, DDR5 8000 works. But MEMVDD, okay, so memory voltages are quite high, which makes sense because this is CL34 at 8000. CPU VDDIO at 1.43, typical Asus things. Like, for whatever reason, Asus boards really like high VDDIO for stability. And then everything else looks good. So... yeah. Oh, 1.55 VDD VDDQ. So that's actually better than I thought it would be for CL34 at 8000. Like, I was thinking like 1.6 volts, not 1.55. I'm not sure if I would trust just a single hour of Y Cruncher on this, because like I have run into issues when I tested 8000 on Ryzen, where it would like error out after like 2 hours or something in Y Cruncher. So running just a single hour is kind of iffy in my opinion. And also 10 hours of Carhu is the same kind of thing where I've at 1-to-1 mode, I wouldn't be so concerned about it because 1-to-1 mode is like very easy to run and be stable. Like stress testing 1-to-1 mode is more like a sanity check in my opinion than like a, really critical a lot of the time. But when you're in 2-to-1 mode, yeah, I've seen errors show up at like 16 hours of Carhu, 2 hours into Y Cruncher. Very upset about that. That's why I go for such ridiculous like stress test times for the videos I make, especially at any like really high memory speeds, because it's just like I don't trust the memory controllers once you get into that speed range. Though this is on a gene, whereas most of my experience with like erroring out at like 16 hours is like from 4DIMM motherboards. So like the Gigabyte Extreme and the ASRock HDV board. So yeah, so on a gene, I guess I would probably be pretty confident in this actually being stable. But yeah, I'd probably I would probably try to stress test this for a bit longer, especially Y Cruncher, because that one might error out sooner than I think Carhu will. But anyway, next submission, because we've got a super chat come in. Oh, an Intel. Oh, it's just another 14th gen. Got a Z790 Aorus Elite X, Wi-Fi 7, running 7200, VDD 1.45, VDDQ 1.45, VDD2 1.4, 1.35, and SA 1.25. Tried several voltage combos and basically can't get anything over 7200 to pass VT3. Well, yes, that's the Intel experience. That's how it works. You buy a motherboard which claims support for DDR5 8000, and then you try to run Y-Cruncher at anything above 7200 on it, and it doesn't run. Because, like, I don't even know why it doesn't run. It just doesn't run. Like, I've never had a yeah. Like, I've seen other people get, like, 8000 to work on the Gigabyte refresh boards. I am not one of those people. So my conclusion is that you like need to win the silicon lottery or something, because yeah, it's like, if is it a 4 dimmer, then it's not going to work above 7200. Like, honestly, even 7200 working is like kind of, well, this is a refresh board and they are better. Like, the refresh boards from Gigabyte are definitely better than the original Z790s. But yeah, like on say the regular Z790 Elite, getting 7200 to work was a massive pain. So we went from 7200 being a massive pain to 7200 being like reasonable. So I'd say that's an improvement still, isn't it? Anyway, 7200, 32, 42, 42, 42, 60. Yeah, so very tight primary. Well, that TRAS is kind of high. And on Intel, pushing the TRAS as low as possible does, like, you keep gaining performance down into like 30 TRAS range. Command rate 2T, well, it's a 4 dimmer. 8.4 on the TRRDs, good. TRFC 420, refresh interval 65,000. 14.8, 20, 20. These are loose. At 7200, you shouldn't need them at 20. You should be able to do 18 or even less than that, but definitely 18 should work. 12, okay. 8, cool. 64, 54, this is really loose. Different group can go all the way down to like 44 or something. And SG should easily do 60 or less. And then the dual rank timings don't matter for this. I guess, again, you could try the, like, bump TWR pre, like, way up, and then see if you can push the memory speed higher. Because, yeah, for me, it was really, like, Y-Cruncher tends to complain if the write recovery is too short. And also, you can try bump TWR PDEN temporarily for testing if you want to try pushing past 7200. Though, I'm guessing you probably already tried, like, stress testing above 7200 with just, like, auto timings, and those would have already set those, like, both of those timings really loose. So, yeah, like, honestly, I would just blame the motherboard in this case. Or your CPU's memory controller. Fastest RAM possible for a 7800X 3D. 8000. Like, it kind of depends on the motherboard, but DDR5 8000 is about the limit of what you can do with a 7800X 3D. Oh, more super chats, so let's take a look at those. Got a 5800X 3D with generic beat. Why is that at 19? What is... Oh, it's Corsair. Wait, this is Corsair, right? This looks like a Corsair part number. I'm not crazy, right? This is Corsair. If you have an X670 gene, you just go for DDR5 8000. You only run games 1 hour of Y-Cruncher is good enough. Yeah, probably. This really looks like Corsair, which would explain that TRCD, because Corsair has just, like, the worst binning practices for B-die. Won't do TRCD any lower. Yeah, but is it actually like a Corsair kit, or did I miss that? There could be a few things. Yeah, it is a Corsair. Okay, that explains. Corsair Dominators. Oh, that's what the D is for. I was trying to figure out like C, M, that's Corsair memory usually, and then D I was like, but what? Okay, yeah, that explains it. Yeah, that's been my experience. Like Corsair has just like, but this is like a loose B-die bin. Yeah, because this is 3618, so that's like not a good speed bin. So yeah, this is like B-die has like the worst variance of any DDR4 memory chip ever. If you get low bin B-die, it's garbage. It looks like C-die, it clocks like C-die. The only difference between like low bin B-die and C-die is that low bin B-die still has better voltage tolerance than any form of C-die. But yeah, like B-die is all over the place. Yeah, like, you know, some of the like loosey-goosey bins from Corsair end up with weird things like, you know, TCL14, TRC-DWR14, TRC-DRD19. And then like TRP's normal, TRAS is kind of loose, TRC, yeah, that's also on the loose end. And then like all of your subtimings are fine, right? You've got the typical low TRFC of B-die, but like TRCD is just terrible and there's nothing you can do about it because silicon lottery, man. And this isn't even the worst thing I've ever seen. Like I have some like 3200 CL16 Corsair sticks that are like they're very much B-die as long as you don't care about stability. They do good timings, and as soon as you start stress testing them, the timing's just awful. Like you end up at like 3616 or something. Actually, no. Yeah, no, it's like 3616, 3818. But it does like B-die subtimings. It does low TRFC, but it just the primaries are horrendous. As soon as you start stress testing. If you don't stress test, you can actually run pretty decent primaries, which is just like B-die, man. It's so freaking all over the place. So yeah, that's the thing. That's like the thing with B-die is just like you buy low bin B-die and it's just like it behaves nothing like the high bins, which the high bins start at like 3200 CL14 and 3616. So yeah, 4, 4, 14, 6, 8. And all of your other all of your other timings look good, and then the primaries are just like low bin Corsair B-die. Typical. Low bin Corsair B-die. Yeah, your TRCD ain't gonna get better. You should have bought different memory. Anyway, next submission. It's kind of funny to me how like the weird actually even the like good Corsair kit that I have is still weird for like B-die. Because yeah, I have like some 3616 RGB dominators and they're just weird. They just do not behave like they don't like Z390 motherboards. They don't like Intel motherboards in general. They don't really clock they clock better on X299 than they clock on Intel mainstream, which is just, you know, just bizarre. They work fine with Ryzen, but yeah, they don't like Intel CPU. Like mainstream Intel, they do not like. And the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure that kit is like specifically like advertised as being for mainstream Intel, and then it's like, yeah, it really doesn't work very well there. So I don't. Oh well. Anyway, let's take a look at this. 7800X3D, 6400. Ooh, nice memory controller. Oh yeah, really nice memory controller. Working at 1.23. That's really good. fclk 2133, 30, 37, 37, 37, 30, 60, 4, 8, 16, 4, 16, 48. Yep, this all looks good. Also, like, good TRCDs. Is this A-die? I keep ruining my window alignment. M-die. Oh, that explains why the TRP isn't lower. 1.05 on the VDDGs. Cool. It's a bit on the high side for the VDDGs. Yeah, I wonder if that's actually necessary, because in my experience, at least on the newer AGSAs, like the VDDGs, you can leave them super low. and you're like it won't negatively affect fclk at all. X670 Tomahawk motherboard, TRFC 498, 4.2 on the SCLs. Oh, and this is dual rank, and we got our 6688. Yeah, and 65,000 refresh interval. So this is perfect. Like in terms of timings, like that doesn't get better than this. 4 hours of test mem 5. A bit short, but you know, it like something better than 1 hour. So yeah, this looks good. And we've got, oh, here we've got the memory sticks. Yeah. Also on G.Skill kits, you can tell which die revision you have from the last letter in this number over here. So yeah. Also, there's like a way to read which manufacturer it is from this part of the label, but I don't remember how that works. But yeah, so this is Hynix M die. Oh, that is a interesting. I guess the flares are flat. Man, you sure do love heatsinks, don't you? Got I'm guessing a 3090 with the memory heatsink as well. Like, I guess the tops of the heat spreaders are technically flat. But, like... Or wait, you have, like, a thermal pad thing on the side of the memory sticks. That is a interesting approach to that. You know, I have thought about that, like, if you have a 4DIMM motherboard, like, using the empty space to, like, stick extra memory heat sinks on. Though I should point out, this side... Oh, wait, these are double-sided memory sticks. So, yeah, for you, it doesn't actually matter which... Yeah, so on your memory sticks, both sides make heat. But on single-rank memory sticks, the memory chips are towards the CPU, if you were wondering. So if you were like sticking heat sinks just directly onto the heatsink of the memory stick, like some low-profile VRAM heat sinks, you would just stick them on the like side that's towards the CPU, and that would help your temperatures. Because the other side of the memory stick will usually just have like a foam pad to hold the heatsink in place, and that foam pad is not meant to be thermally conductive. It's just like actual closed cell foam. If anything, it's an insulator. Your memory sticks might run better without it. But these are dual rank sticks, so that doesn't apply. Yeah, that's a cool way of like, do you have like copper blocks or something to like sink the heat up into the heat sinks? Also, I am way behind on super chats now. So, yeah, a cool setup. Good timings. Interesting approach to the memory cooling. I like it. Okay, so next submission. Oh, somebody asked, any tips for stabilizing 1933 UCLK on a 5800X 3D? I think you mean 1933 FCLK, and it's called being lucky. Because 3866 on the memory controller shouldn't ever be a problem. Like, that should just work. But 1933 FCLK generally doesn't, in my experience, with Ryzen 5000. Okay. Oh, we've got JDEC timings, and they're really bad. I'd like to start tinkering, and okay. Oh. 1816. This is probably Hynix or some kind of Micron. Yeah. This is going to be Hynix or Micron. I am not sure how to, yeah, I don't actually know how to identify them, though. Like, how to tell them apart. Like, I'm pretty sure Hynix and, like, Micron would have very different, like, TRFC requirements, but I'm not sure what they would actually be. So... And I think TRC would also be, like, a method of differentiating them. But the issue is, like, I've never used any 16 gigabit Hynix chips for DDR4. So I actually just don't know what, like, typical Hynix behavior would look like. That still doesn't stop you from just, like, tightening the TRRDs, TFAL. I mean, actually, yeah, SCLs. You could try push TRFC down a bit. I guess if TRFC goes below 600, it's probably... I actually really don't know, because I'm pretty sure there's, like, some 16 gigabit Hynix that has, like, really loose TRFC. And then there's some that's, like, actually good. I think. I am not sure. Because I think there's, like, 3, maybe 4 different 16 gigabit Hynix chips, and I've used one of them. And that one was terrible, and I'm pretty sure it did worse TRFC at 3600 than what you have in the screenshot. So it's not that. But yeah, I would still, like, you should still be able to push, like, the TRRDs to, like, 4.6, TFAL 16, SCLs down. The TRFC, like, the thing is, the TRFC probably won't get much tighter anyway, because it's a 16 gigabit memory chip, and I think all of them are, like, above 500 for that. I'd try to push the TRC as low as possible, as well as, like, TRAS. Your primaries probably aren't going to change. Like, if it's Micron, your primaries aren't really going to get much better. If it's Hynix, they're definitely not going to get much better. So, yeah. And then, like, WTRs, you could try push those down. There's, like, not... Like, the funny thing is there's kind of, like, not that much to tweak. Also, since it's dual rank, read-to-read same DIMM, that 5, you should switch that... Like, you should set that to 4. And then write-to-write same DIMM, that 7, you should set that to 6. And that should almost certainly work. So, actually, you know what? We'll just do this way. Where's paint? What I would do with this is, am I gonna, yeah, let's go orange. And, wait, how big is this gonna be? I don't have the, well, I guess we'll find out. So, well, right now you're at 19 and 39, so that adds up to like 58? 49? Yeah, 58. So, TRC, you should be able to push it down to somewhere around like 60. Okay, that's too small. There we go. So, yeah, you should be able to do like TRC around 60. TRDS 4, TRDL 6 or 4. I mean, technically you could also go for 5, but like I don't really see the point in bothering with testing that. This 16, regardless of if you actually change the TRDs, that should just be 16. This somewhere between 2 and 4 probably. And this somewhere between like 7 and 10 should work, I think. I would actually, I'd probably just not bother with that one. Yeah. Like WTRL, I don't, well, Yeah, no, somewhere between 7 and 10 probably will work, or maybe 12. Like there's some memory chips like that. TWR, I'd probably try to just set it to 12. 550-ish. So like plus minus 50. And then 4, 4, 4, 6. There. That's what I would try to do with this. Also, like, I don't think 60 would actually necessarily work for TRC. Like, you might hit a TRC limit before that. Like, if it's Micron, I don't think you'll even get to 60. Also, you might want to push the memory speed up. And in that case, what I would do is, like, let's say you're going for, like, 3733. I think, like... Actually, there's an easy... Let's pull up the calculator. Yeah, we're going to use all of the extras today. Is that the right calculator instance? I'm never sure, because I usually have so many calculators. It's like, anytime I need the calculator, I just make a new instance of it, and so then and then one day it's like, oh, I need a calculator. There's 5 of them open already. But anyway, so right now it's at like 19 at 3600. So what you can do, and this is just like a dirty hack for like scaling your XMP timings up. It's like 19 at 3600, you just divide by 36, and then it's like, say you want to run 3733, you just go 37.3. And it's like, okay, 19.68, so we're going to round that up to 20. So if you wanted to try 3733, you would have to set like TRC-DRD to 20, right? And if you wanted to do 3800, you'd probably have to set it even looser than that, because like 19 divided by 36 times 38 is about... Actually, 20 might work at 3800, but you also might want to try like 21. For TRC DRD if you're going to try pushing to 3800. And then TCL is like 16 divided by 36, multiply by 38, 16.8. So TCL 17 should be good for everything up to like 3733. Though, of course, you are on Ryzen and you do have gear down mode enabled, so CL17 doesn't exist. So you're going to have to set that to 18. So basically, if you wanted to push for higher frequency, you'd be setting your primaries, like, let's just hypothetically say you want to go for like 3800. You'd be setting 18, 20, 20... 20, and honestly, like TRAS, I would actually just leave alone. So you could try that. And then TRC is going to probably end up getting looser if you try to push for 3800. So, yeah, lots of options there. Anyway, oh no, now I have a mess. There. So, next super chat. I am so behind. Aren't I? Oh yeah, I am. Actually, wait, it's not that bad, is it? Oh yeah, no, it's not that bad. Okay, yeah, it really isn't that bad. I'm just too behind. Okay. Unless there's like super chats that aren't showing up on my end, in which case I'm very sorry, I can't do anything about that. Got an Intel system running settings that I can't, you know, tell, like, is this gonna work? Maybe. Not on my system. But yeah, 8200 on a Z790 Apex Encore. 38, 49, 49. I'm assuming this is like, oh, we don't get any extra information for this? Really? 38, 49, 49, 84, 2T. Wait, this is just like auto settings, except you raise TREFI way up. Yeah, this is literally auto settings, except you raised... Well, no, TCK Z8. And these are like 6... Well, no, that's Asus auto timings, aren't they? Yeah, this is like Asus auto tertiaries. The thing is, like, I dare not suggest anything with this, because, like, I can't get this to work. Right? Like, I've never had DDR5 8000 working on Intel, so it's like, I don't know, maybe if you touch any of these timing... Like, assuming this even works in the first place, you touch any timings, it might just break. Because, like, you know, like, honestly, I'd be kind of surprised if someone... Actually, no, I think this does post. XMP tweaked? No, I think this looks like XMP1, because I don't think Asus would, like, XMP1, but with somebody manually blasted TREFI. Karhu 24-hour stable. Well, I guess you won the Silicon Lottery. That doesn't change that I really don't know what I would do with this. Because, like, I'd be, like, yeah, like, I just, like, literally... Like, I don't deal with settings like this. Because, like, I can't get Intel to not error out above 7600. XMP tweaked sets 131? That's... brave. Unless it has the, like, automatic timing switching if the thermals get too high. Could you keep a snapshot of actually good timing settings and post them on your website? I have thought, like... I've considered doing something like that, but, like... like, it would need to keep getting updated, and, like, or would it... And is 131 even that hard? I don't think it works above, like, 55 degrees Celsius, depending on your sticks. Like, it definitely doesn't work at 60. So, like, you need, like, active cooling for these kind of... Like, for that much TREFI, you need active cooling. As far as I know. So, yeah, I don't have any suggestions for this, because, like, honestly, like, it's above 7600 on Intel, and it's like, I don't know what to do above 7600 on Intel. Because, like, I'd be considering, like, tightening TRAS, maybe. The TRDs probably won't change. RTP's already quite tight. TCK, yeah, that's already 2. 16.8. These 222s are kind of, like, I kind of think you could probably run that lower. This seems... Okay, the WRD SG I actually think is quite tight for this speed. But DG is really loose, I think. And then, like, the primaries, I would just, yeah, like, basically with this kind of thing, I would just not touch it. So, yeah. Congrats on the memory controller where this works, I guess. Anyway, next submission. We got a Intel system? Yes, Intel system at DDR5 8000. And it doesn't always retrain well. Not sure if there's something that can help. Yeah, I wouldn't know because I've given up on DDR5 8000. This is on 16 gigabit, right? Oh yeah, because 32 gigs total. 34, 46, so this is E-die. 34, 46, 20, 46, 58, 2T88, 480. Water-cooled memory sticks, I'm guessing, because that is a really high refresh interval. TWR51, RTP12, TFAL32, TCK8, TCWL34, 16.8, 20, 20, 16.8, 6450. Yeah. 2 hours of Y-Cruncher, nice. 9 hours of Karhu, nice. The fact that it doesn't retrain, I am not sure what to do about that. Maybe the, like, voltages aren't quite right, so it like sometimes misses training, but then like I don't know, like to me the Intel memory controller just feels like it doesn't work above 7600, so really really hard for me to make any suggestions about this. Because, like, the thing is, like, I'm thinking, like, well, maybe one of the, like, voltages isn't quite right. But the problem is, like, if you change one of those, there's a decent chance it's just going to stop working completely. Right? So it's like, oh, maybe you need, like, more or less VDD QTX or more or less VCCSA or, like, a combination of all of them needs to be changed. I'd probably, actually, if this is a daily setup, I'd probably experiment with just disabling memory retraining. Yeah, I would try to turn off memory retrain, and that way it can't like mistrain if it just never trains again. Like the obvious issue with doing that is like you first need to have it train correctly, right? Like you need to train correctly and then disable the retraining, and there's no way to know when the training is correct until after you've run your stress tests, and every time you reboot the system, there is a chance that it's gonna mistrain because you have like there's no like if you could turn off memory retraining from the operating system, right? You could like get into the OS, run all your stability checks, and then disable memory retrain, and then reboot, and you'd be good because it wouldn't try to retrain. But the moment like if you have memory retraining turned on, and then you run your stress test, and then you reboot, well now you don't know if your training is good anymore, which is just stupid. So, yeah, Intel problems. Actually, just DDR5 at high speeds problems, because AMD also does it. Though, I'm not sure if, well, no, I think Intel also does the thing where, like, if it mistrains, it's just completely unstable. So it's, like, pretty easy to tell if it, like, really broke. I'm not sure if you can get, like, a slightly mistrained system. Because my experience with AMD is usually if it misses training, it's just completely gone. It just breaks. Um, With Intel, I think it usually does the same thing where it's like you just reboot and your system just falls apart. Um, if it mistrains. Um, which is like relatively easy to catch. Oh, Sebi's suggesting to try more memory controller voltage, so more IMC VDD. Yeah, I don't know. Like I've just given up on running anything above 7600 because in my experience with the Intel memory controllers above 7600 it gets really weird and I've wasted entirely too much time trying to get it to stop being weird. So I give up. Yeah. But it could just be like maybe slightly raising one of the voltages or lowering them. But which one? I have no idea. Literally no idea. Anyway, next submission. We got some 2x24 on Z790 Hero at 7000. 1.5, 1.1 SA. Can do 7200 CL30, but daily voltage not worth it. What? Your voltages are already insane. Oh, you want to keep... So your VDD would be like 1.65 or something for 7200 CL30, I'm guessing. Cool. Can't get TRDWR SGDG any lower. I kind of wonder if that might not be related to your CAS latency. Well, no, it shouldn't be because it's write latency. It might be related. That might actually be related to your cache latency. Because what the RDWR controls the gap between a read command and a write command. And basically, the way it does that is it like also these odd tertiary timings aren't real. So this is like 14, 8, 20, 20, 10, 8, 52, 38. But anyway, so what would basically happen is like you have a read command, and then 30 cycles later you have your data, and then you have, but from the read command, so you'd have like read 20 cycles, write 26 cycles. 26 cycles, data comes in. So you have like a 46 cycle gap between the read command and like data showing up at the memory chip. And like I'm not 100% certain on this, but you could try like raise cache latency to 32, and then this might do 18 instead of 20. Wait, no. No, that doesn't make sense. Because that wouldn't move anything around. You could try raise your cache write latency, but that, like, I run lower cache write latencies than this with lower TRDWR than this. Yeah, I have no idea why this would happen. I guess maybe your memory sticks just like are weak, like they just don't like doing read to write transitions really quickly. It's not a big deal, but yeah, I can't think of why that would happen. Because like your cache latency actually does, like the way Intel counts the tertiary timings, your cache latency doesn't matter in this situation. Because it doesn't count from the end of the read burst, it counts from the read command itself. So it's not TRDWR isn't like 30 plus 20 plus 26. It's just 19, like it's just 20 plus 26 basically. For like when your write command comes through relative to the read command. You know what? Let's bring paint back because I want to draw this out. Or actually, paint's not really ideal for this, but well, whatever. Too late. Because basically what you'll have is like you'll have a read, and then you'll have TRD WR, and then you'll have a write command. Ah. Right, and the thing with this is that the way this... Oh yeah, so paint was right. Okay, so this read command is gonna have like data out in... this is not the best way of drawing this. But like data will come out in TCL equals 30. Right, and then you're gonna have... Okay, yeah, I botched this. This is really awkward to like write out. Because there's like you get this weird overlap that's like super annoying to... Yeah, no, I give up. Like, but it like doesn't matter what your cache latency is. So I don't know why the TRDWR doesn't get any lower. Could just like it might just be a silicon lottery thing. So yeah, I'm gonna go with this as just a silicon lottery thing because I can't like I really can't think of a single reason why this should be happening. Anyway, next submission. Got a 7950X 3D running DDR5 6000. Also, I zoomed in and it didn't get any bigger. 6000, 30, 36 on single rank. Really? The X-Pro profile on this Mushkin Redline kit 6400, which does not work at all. Yeah, that's why I don't recommend people buy 6400 rated kits for Ryzen. I used your easy DDR5 timings and was able to get it stable at 1.32, dropped SoC to 1.15. fclk of 2200 stable. Nice. Anything higher will not boot. Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty typical. I'm going to reconfigure my cooling tomorrow, though. As determined by running Linpack, you will also want to check that you don't get like weird audio cuts. Like if you have any weird audio cutouts on your system, it might be your fclk being too high. So yeah, I'm going to reconfigure my cooling tomorrow when the AIO and Corsair memory fan come in, so hopefully bring down the memory temps. Measuring temperatures during Y-Cruncher with firmware at low mid-60s. I've heard that you shouldn't run it over 50. Is that correct? Well, no. The memory temperature, like the higher your memory stick, like the hotter your memory sticks get, the harder it is to run high TREFI and the harder it is to run high TRCD. I mean low TRCD. It's not really like I wouldn't be concerned about the health of the memory sticks until like 80 degrees Celsius or something. But the thing is like if you want to run like say TREFI 65,000, if your memory sticks get much above 60 degrees with refresh interval above 65,000, it's going to cause errors. So if you got to like 70 degrees and your refresh interval was 65,000, it would like almost certainly cause errors at that point. So the cooler the memory sticks are, the higher your TREFI can be. And the easy timings video, like I specifically tested those timings with no fan on the memory sticks, which is why I also went with TREFI 50K instead of like 65K. So yeah, so if you run the memory sticks cooler, you could raise the refresh interval. Also, since you can run such a low SoC voltage for DDR5 6000, it might be worth it to test if 6200 is viable at like 1.25, maybe even 1.2. Yeah, you should probably be able to run 6200 at 1.2 to 1.25. That'll knock your fclk down a bit, but you might still be able to run like 2166 or 2133. And 6200 with slightly lower fclk is going to be faster than 6000 with 2200 fclk. Like on Ryzen, like it's kind of funny. On Ryzen 7000, the Infinity Fabric is like a brick wall for memory bandwidth, but for latency, you actually just want to push the memory, like the UCLK, as high as possible, right? So at like 6200, your UCLK is 3100, and that's going to be faster. Anyway. Also, when you push for 6200, you might have to loosen out the TR, like your primary timings. But other than that, yeah, these are my easy timings. And so, yeah, they look fine. There's nothing really to complain about. You could also, like, the other thing is like 6200 is not going to be that much faster than 6000. So you could also just leave it alone at this point. But if you did want to push further, then I'd be looking into pushing to 6200 rather than, like, trying to like tune 6000 more, because that's probably just a waste of time. Hi there, BZ. Hope you're doing well. I'm the dude that tagged you on Twitter complaining about DDR5 OC. Here's a link to my timings. Well, let's take a look at them. You're on an Intel system though, so I'm not gonna have much in the way of useful advice other than like, well, don't have an Intel system. Okay. Let's see. MSI Z790 Max Wi-Fi. Yeah, see, I've heard that the MSI 4 dimmers kind of suck. But I don't have any of them, except a Godlike, which is probably the exception, because this, I think, is a 6-layer board. But the Godlike also, like, I mean, I didn't test it extensively, but it doesn't work at 7600. So, like, you know, I don't know that I would. Well, then again, like, I'm doing 7600 on an Apex, so I need to, like, tone down my expectations for every board because it's like with CPUs this bad, every board is bad. But anyway, 6800, 34, 42, 42, 42, 54, 2T, that all looks good. A8, fine. 440 refresh cycle, 65,000 refresh interval, 33 TWR, RTP11, TFL32. Right, yeah. TCK27, you could drop that to 8. It's not like it makes a huge difference, but you could drop that. 16, 8, 20, 20, 16, 8, 60, 48, and then 69. Okay. Yeah, so what I would do is, since you're at 6800, read to read same group, you can probably run, like, even 12. Definitely 14, and that'll give you a bit more memory bandwidth. These two should be able to do 18. This should be able to do 12, maybe even 10. And then 60 is really high for 6800. That can go lower. DG, this is also really high. This could probably do like 40. So like 50, like I'd probably try like 56 and 40 for these two. And then for your primaries, I mean, at 6800, depending on what voltage you're running, you could be running like, instead of 3442, you could be running like 32, or even 30, if you really push the voltage high, at 6800. Yeah, so you could, like, you know, lower cast latency. I don't know if MSI gives you the ability to change, or I don't remember if MSI gives you the ability to change TRC DWR, but you can drop that way down, and it gives you a slight performance uplift. If this is A-die, which I don't know if it is, you should be able to drop TRP pretty close to what your cast latency is. So like 36, 34 maybe. And TRAS 54, you should probably be able to lower that more. Like I think you should probably work at 40. Wait, is this 24 gig DIMMs or 16 gig DIMMs? It does not say. Yeah, it doesn't say. Oh, 16 gig. Yeah, then you can definitely lower TRP and TRAS, like, way down. You might be able to get TRAS down to like 28 or something. So yeah. That, I think, covers everything. Also, yeah, you're running kind of a lot of voltage for such, like, relaxed primary timings. I couldn't even stabilize 7000. Oh, I'm not surprised about that. Like, this is, like, as far as I know, this is a 6-layer 4 dimmer. It's not going to work. Like, the like 6800 is about the limit. Like, there's even, like, Z690 boards that are, like, 8-layer PCBs that also, like, max out at, like, 6800. So, like, a 4 dimmer maxing out at 6800 is like, yep. That makes perfect sense to me. Like, I've seen, you know, like, other tech YouTubers with like 7600 rated DIMMs somehow running on like hero boards and other 4 dimmers, and I'm just like, man, I'm like, on a good day 7200 works on the 4 dimmers I have. On a bad day that doesn't work, which is why, like, I think for Intel, if you want like the highest XMP where you can realistically expect it that it won't cause any issues is 6800. And honestly, as we saw earlier, somebody had like a Z690 board where they were at 6133. So if you're on a Z690 board, that might still not work. But usually I would consider like 6800 to actually be safe. And then like 7200 should work most of the time, but probably requires some extra tweaking. And then past 7200, it's just like, no, this is not a good idea. It's not going to work. If you have a 4-DIMM motherboard. If you have a 1-DIMM per channel, like an ITX or an Apex or a Tachyon or a Dark or a, you know, whatever 1-DIMM per channel board, 7600 should be relatively easy to do. It might even work on auto settings. Anything more than that is potentially impossible. So, yeah, or requires skills beyond my comprehension. So, yeah. What is usually the edge temperature for 65,000 refresh interval on E-die? I think it's somewhere in like the 60C range. Like, yeah. I've not actually tested for it myself, but I've, like, as far as I know, it's somewhere above 60 degrees that you, like, really run into issues with 65K refresh interval. And these timings are from Madness. Only change I made was refresh interval from 24K to 65K. Cool. Okay, I guess he didn't want to give you anything that requires, like, intense amount of stress testing. Because, yeah, these... Yeah, these aren't, like... Like, I'm not seeing anything where it's like, oh, this must be for stability, but at the same... Like, this is just kind of like... this kind of looks like the Asus XMP1 settings. Except the TWR is lower. Yeah, this looks a lot like Asus XMP1 settings. Oh, also, I'm assuming... Did you also tweak TRFC per bank? Because that, like, helps with performance a bit. I think 6800 3442 is, like, straight up XMP for some DDR5 kits. So this, like, yeah, the primaries are really loose. Like, 65K refresh interval usually shouldn't cause any issues in my experience. TRFC per bank for Madness as well. Yeah, that makes sense. He would give that to you. Because he does tune that timing. Like, I've seen a lot of other people who just ignore that TRFC per bank exists, but he doesn't. Which is good, because it does actually affect your performance. You shouldn't just set it to the same thing as TRFC. It's not a huge deal, but, like, if you're already tuning the, like, timing, is like, why ignore TRFC per bank? Anyway, so I am done with all the super chats. So I guess I'll just pick off after the latest super chat in terms of submissions. Because otherwise it's like I'm going to scroll up a random amount, which I don't really... Not really a fan of doing that. So we'll just continue from, like, the last super chat, except I need to actually, like, use the buttons correctly. Cool. So let's take a look at this, which is a Z690i Strix. Man, I wanted to test this board. Like, or, well, at one point in time, I wanted to, like, this is a board that I wanted to test. Oh, this is M-die, isn't it? Oh, yeah, this is totally M-die. That TRFC is way too low for this to be anything other than M-die. 16 gigabit. Yeah, if you try this, if you try this on A-die, and it will not, like, it won't work at all. Also, are you, like, water cooling this thing? Like, how are you running 260K refresh interval? But yeah, so that's nuts. But 6,026. Oh man, this has to be at such high voltage. This has to be like, actually, 26. No, it's still gonna be pretty high voltage. It's gonna be over 1.5 volts, I think. 26, 34, 34, 26. 2T. That's a bit sad, but the Z690 ITX, like, it's a Z690 board, so, you know, I wouldn't expect better. 4, 4, 8, 16, 4, TCW. You could probably push TCWL lower than that. That might, yeah, you could probably push that down to like 16 or something. And then we got 12, 8, 18, 18, 10, 8, 48, 36. And this is single rank, right? It does not say. If this is dual rank, this would make sense to me. Wait, no, this can't be dual rank because all your dual rank timings are... Wait, no, this... What is this? It is dual rank. Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah, okay. Because if this was single rank, I was about to say, like, this is kind of fun, but kind of dumb. Because you're, like, not pushing the frequency as high as possible. But since this is dual rank, it's like, yeah, this actually is cool. Because running dual rank with 12th gen is a pain. So, yeah, this is totally what I would do in the same situation. It's just, like, low speed and then just smash the timings. 1.55 volts, 1.45. Wait, you're running this on air cooling? How is that refresh interval stable? Got like a Delta fan on it. Okay. But yeah, you also did your dual rank timings for yeah. I think you did dual rank timings. Oh yeah, because that's like a thing with DDR5. Like so with DDR4, I think it was typical that your dual rank timings would be like about the same as your like same group, and with DDR5 they're usually worse. So yeah, this looks good. This looks good. I think this, yeah, like I think this is cool. And if I was running 64 gigs on a Z690 board with a 12th gen, I would basically do this, except without the refresh interval. That's insane. That needs so much cooling. Well, this works at 35 degrees Celsius. I mean, at 45. I've had sticks error out at like 100, like at 100,000 refresh interval at like 4. Well, okay, not 4, at like a bit over 45. That's crazy. Then though I don't think I tested. Maybe there's like a difference between M-die and A-die on that, because M-die is like an older manufacturing process, so it might actually have better data retention, even if it's slower. Oh, they crap out at around 65. Damn. Yeah, so I guess M-die might have like better refresh interval tolerance, just because it's like an older manufacturing process. Cool settings. That's actually one of the main reasons why if you look at like DDR4 JEDEC refresh interval and DDR5 JEDEC refresh interval, for DDR5 the refresh interval is shorter than DDR4. And as far as I can tell, the main justification for it is like DDR5 is using smaller manufacturing processes, so it's expected to lose data faster. So like DDR5 is like more like raising refresh interval on DDR5 makes more of a difference than it did on DDR4. I mean, it still makes a huge difference on both, but on DDR5 it's like even more so. Like just going up to 32,000 is already like a huge performance uplift because the JEDEC DDR5 refresh spec is just super conservative. I feel dumb for selling my M-die. And it's not like also what's wild is refresh interval 262,000 at 6,000 is like significantly longer refresh interval than if you had this same setting at DDR5 8,000. Just like cuz it scales with like so like high refresh interval at low frequencies is actually longer refresh interval than the same refresh interval at high frequencies. Which is just kind of funny that like, yeah. So this is actually just like an insanely long refresh interval for these memory sticks. So yeah, that's cool. So I guess I'll just keep going in order. Oh man, we've got some freaking wacky colored Zen timings UIs. I don't like it. Micron E-die. Got 3733, 14.8, 18, 14, 21, 54, 4, 4, 16, 4, 8, 20. Did you just leave TWR on auto? Not a huge deal. Like of all the timings to leave on auto, that one really doesn't matter that much. TRFC 554, SCL's at 44, 14, 14, 8, 8, like 8, 4, 4. This is dual rank. 4, 4, 6, 6, yeah. This is good. And it's at 3733. This is like a really sensible setup for this kind of system. I mean, any advice? Like, it's Micron, and like TRRDs are as low as they go. I mean, you could probably try lower WTRs. I think like 3.7 might actually work. Not that it's gonna, like, it's not gonna make much of a difference to performance at this point. But like, you could try that. You could try lowering TWR and RTP, but those really aren't super important from a performance perspective. So honestly, if you have this like stress tested and it's stable, I would just leave it, right? Like it's like that's like like pushing it to 3800 isn't going to make it much faster. All of your all of the timings that all of the relatively important timings are already as low as they go. Like you're not pushing TCL lower, you're not pushing TRC-DRD lower, you're not pushing RP lower. TRC that's just limited by the memory chip. TRDs literally do not go lower. It's just not possible for them to be less than 4. I guess you could also maybe try lowering the SCLs to 2 instead of 4, but this is not really going to make much of a difference either. So no, like if I had this set up, I would just be happy. Like if it's stable, I would just be happy that it works and call it a day, because this is about as good as it's going to get with Micron 8 gigabit E-die. Anyway, next submission. I guess that works. Micron Rev E on... Oh, it's the NZXT board. So, isn't that like an ASRock board? And you've got E-die. And it's running at 3600, 15, 19, 15, 38, 1, 12, 520. I'm guessing you want to try push the frequency higher, but yeah, with 4x8, I am not really sure how you would go about doing that. Tried 3800, 1919, but couldn't get it stable. I mean, okay, so that's a weird approach to this, because if this is literally the only thing you tried, I wanna point out something to you. All right, so right now your TRCD is 19, and you're at 3600. So at 3800, your TRCD, like assuming if you can't lower TRCD right now, which you probably could, but let's say you can't. For 3800, your TRCD should be 20 at a minimum. Yeah. Like, as you're raising frequencies, it's generally a good idea to, like, loosen out the primary timings. The motherboard, like, if you leave all the other timings on auto, the motherboard will generally take care of those for you. But the primaries, you kind of want to loosen those out yourself. And usually what I would do is I would just set, like, for DDR4, I would just set it, like, 18, 22, 22, 22. And, like, 18, 22, 22, TRAS, like, 44 or something, or higher even. Especially on Intel, because Intel doesn't have a TRC register. And then just, like, go from there. Because, yeah, because you could actually boot 3800. I was worried that you couldn't boot 3800, and if you couldn't boot 3800, that would be a different problem. That would probably be like terminations, and those are like motherboard specific and memory kit specific and just a massive pain, and you just kind of have to trial and error them. So, but if this does boot and it's just not stable, then probably your TRCD is too low, is my guess. So I would just loosen out, like if you want to try 3800 again, I would just loosen out the primary timings. Maybe like I would probably try like 16, 20, 20. TRP is not that important for performance. TRAS like 44. And then everything else on auto and try with that. And then like if that works, then start tightening the timings again. Is GDM off 37 primaries basically 38? What, for TRAS? Now, GDM only applies to cast latency and cast write latency. Cool. So, next submission. Patriot Blackout 4133 CL18 plus a G-Skill kit. Fun. Oh, it is fun. 1.56 VDIMM could be around 1.5 or below with the exact timings, but TRCD 14 means exactly 1.56. Recently bought the G-Skill 2x8 because 16 gigs is not enough for Tarkov, which easily eats over 20 gigs. But from 2 sticks and 3866 GDM off with the same timings, it went to GDM on 3733 plus 101 BCLK. 2 sticks could even do 4001 T gear down mode off, but there was 1 WHE every cycle of anti-extreme. Right. 52.3 nanoseconds on IDA. To be honest, I don't know if it's worth it to go with these 4 sticks and 32 gigs. So, dual rank is roughly equivalent to like 200 megabits per second extra data rate. No, not 200, 400. So, like, this, yeah, this configuration right here, like 3785, if you wanted to match the performance of this with single rank, you'd probably have to be running like 4200 or higher, which you weren't. And you won't. Because 4200 1-to-1 is like not really a thing for Ryzen 5000. So then you'd have to like go desync, and then if you want to like catch up to dual rank, you need to run like 4600 or something in single rank to make it worth it, which your motherboard won't do because that's an Asus board, and they don't do very high speeds with B-die in 2-to-1 mode, or really in any mode, but especially not 2-to-1. Also, actually, that's probably why you're stuck at like 3800 right now is the Asus board, because I've done like 4000 on 4x8 with like ASRock boards, MSI boards, Gigabyte boards. The MSI boards were really wonky about it, but yeah, both ASRock and like Gigabyte for 4x8 setups, like you could do DDR4 4000. Like it wasn't the board wasn't the issue. It's my CPUs. They don't do fclk that high. Not stable anyway. So yeah, so if I were you, I would stick to the dual rank setup, because it should actually just be straight up faster. And like, I guess since you have, like, you could test this for yourself. Like maybe Tarkov is weird and it really prefers the single rank setup. But I bet the dual rank setup, even though it's clocked lower, is actually just faster. Because you have better, like the thing with like the reason why dual rank is faster than single rank is because it just has better utilization of the available clock cycles, With single rank, there's a lot of situations where the memory controller just has to sit there and wait. With dual rank, you can just do stuff on a different rank if one of the other ranks is busy. So yeah, like with DDR4, from a like performance perspective, especially for daily setups, number one priority is getting dual rank. Like dual rank is so OP that like dual rank Micron is faster than single rank B-die. Generally speaking. So there is like no scenario where you don't, yeah, like I can't, well, except IDA latency. Because IDA latency is a garbage benchmark. But yeah, like you always want dual rank. DDR5 dual rank has less importance because DDR5 has more bank groups per memory rank. But with like DDR4, you definitely want dual rank. And funnily enough, DDR3, you potentially even want quad rank because DDR3 has even fewer memory banks in each rank. So basically you like there's like an optimal number of memory banks for the memory controller to get like good utilization of available clock cycles. And for DDR3, that scaling continues all the way up to like quad rank memory setups. For DDR4, it's usually only up to around dual rank because past dual rank, you already hit, I think, I want to say it's like 4 bank groups per rank, and then you have 4 banks in each bank group, and the bank groups are a bit weird because they're not quite the same as the DDR3. Just like DDR3 didn't have bank groups. But basically, DDR5 single rank is good. DDR4 dual rank is good. DDR3 dual rank or quad rank is good. On DDR3 single rank is horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. It's so bad. Yeah, like it's even more of a penalty than it is on say DDR4. And actually even with DDR5 dual rank still has like a very slight edge, but it's usually not worth it. Especially not on Intel. On AMD, you could kind of argue that 64 gigs of DDR5 is like better than your single rank setups, but it's like hard, like it's such a small difference that it's kind of a pain to measure reliably. So I just go with it's not a difference and it doesn't matter, and you should just run single rank, unless you need the extra capacity. AM4 are 4x8 or 2x32. Yeah, right now that's kind of because unless you're buying something that's guaranteed 2x16 B-die. Because the main issue with buying 2x16 sticks is like you can get single rank 2x16, right? If you buy like a 3600 1822, it could be single rank, and then you're just completely screwed because it's terrible timings and also single rank. So you just get double wrecked instead of just like screwed by terrible timings alone. Why link no worky? Okay, there we go. Okay, so now the super chat. Oh boy, that is a lot of windows. I like it. We get to learn everything about the system. Oh, it says MSI Z690-A Wi-Fi, and it's at 6600. Yep, 4DIMM MSI board. I have a 14700 KF system with a Z690 Wi-Fi, DDR5 6600 CL32, runs 5.5 all-core and 6 GHz all single-core, NHD 15, Corsair Vengeance 2x32. I am impressed that that works at 6600. These are the passes Y Cruncher, Carhu 10 hours, cool. Max DDR5 frequency on this board is 6600. Doesn't even... That is super weird. Like, single rank not working at 6800, that makes perfect sense. But how 6600 works on a... how 6600 works on a dual rank setup, I have no idea. Considering that single rank doesn't do 6800. RAM voltage 1.38, can do 1.45, but RAM temp currently between 50 and 60. VDDQ 1.28, VDD2 1.32. System works okay. Daily task, but stress tests are working without issues. Is there any way to optimize the timings? More latency could be better, I guess. Could it? Let's see. So, 32, 39, 39, 39, 71. Yeah, so your primaries for 6600, a little... Like your TRAS especially, that's not a little bit loose, that's just loose. That's just, yeah, that's just loose. Cast latency, that's actually reasonable. What voltage you at? You're already at 50 to 60. Yeah, so I wouldn't do anything with that. TRFC's loose. Like this is A-die, I'm guessing, and 480 is like that's the kind of TRFC that you would run for like 7600. At 6600, so I'm just gonna go off of. Actually, I think in my A-die video I was at 440 or something. But let's be conservative, right? So 480 divided by 76 times 66. So you could probably run like TRFC 400 or lower. That would lower the latency a bit. Your per bank is yeah, this is really high. That can also be lower because like the A-die 7600 setup I was running, I think I was running like 377 or something. So let's just call it 380 and divide that by 76. So that's 5. So you could probably run like 330 per bank. Do you have power down mode disabled? Because that like can help. No, I'm not sure where in MemTweakit the power down mode is displayed. And I'm not sure how you would go about disabling it on MSI. Like, I don't remember where it is right now. Other than that, your dual rank timings are... I feel like your TWR is kind of... The thing is, I'm pretty sure I've run into that where, like, TWR needs to be really loose for dual rank. So that actually probably is correct. That it's like 14, 16, 12. Yeah, that does look correct. So, yeah, I wouldn't... Okay, so that's fine. SG being 72 seems insane to me for 6600. That's, like, really loose. You should be able to get that down below 60, and DG of 48 also seems really loose. So yeah, I would try lowering TRAS. I would try lowering these two. You can lower TRFC. You can lower TRFC per bank. RTLs, I'm not gonna like you. I'm assuming you tried turning on memory, like the round trip latency training setting in the BIOS. Can't really think of like more that you could do with that. Oh, also you could try running IDA in safe mode. That makes sure that there's no like garbage running in the background. So IDA's memory tests are not very accurate. Like they dip into the L3 cache a lot. And they are actually core count, like also they're core count limited to some extent. So your 14600K always getting better writes, or yeah, always getting better writes than reads could literally just be like you don't have enough cores to max out the read bandwidth and not anything wrong with your settings. Has Asus actually posted a reliable link from MTweakit? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, but like this looks like the only changes I would make with this TRAS and then like what I mentioned. So yeah. Anyway, so next super chat, I guess. Not a link. Just text. Okay, so 26, 36, 28, 30 DDR5 6000 CR1 on A-die, 55 nanoseconds latency on a 7800X3D. That's really low on a 7800X3D. That's cool. MSI ACE 1.4 VDD, 1.35 VDDQ, 1.25 IO, 1.24 SoC went off your CL28 video. Oh, and just wanted to send me a thank you. Well, glad my content was helpful then. Anyway, I'm just gonna continue off from the latest super chat again for like submissions. So, next submission. We got what is this? A 7800X 3D running 6400, a 1.285 SoC. 6600 not working, 2200 fclk does, but 21 should give some sync benefit. Yeah, there's like a slight like schedule, like it's not synchronized, it's like a scheduling optimization of the input output, like of the buffer between the fclk and the uclk. Because if you think about it, 3 to 2 is not synchronized, right? Like synchronized literally means that both things run at the same clock, which 2133 and 3200 are not the same clock. But because they kind of have that like 3 to 2 ratio, it is possible to try like schedule the data somewhat to make it a bit faster than like say 2166 to 3200. Anyway, yeah, also at that SoC voltage, I would not expect, actually, wait, 2200 working. You might want to test that for whatever workload you're doing, but yeah, 2133 is probably best, especially because it's not like a big bandwidth difference between 2133 and 2200. But anyway, 30, 38, 38, 30, 30, 60, 4, 8, 24, 16, 48, 400. Yep, that all looks good. Typical Hynix E-die timings, 4, 2, 28, 12, 14. TWRD2, TREFI maxed out on a B650 Aorus Elite. Yeah, this just looks good. GDM off, also not working. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a fix for that. Actually, does Gigabyte even have a GDM off option in their BIOS? Because last I checked, that was not a thing. Like, you didn't have an option to turn it off. 6600 runs Y-Cruncher, VT3, but not to SM5. I mean, you're running 1.28 SoC for 6400. So, like, I don't know how you would expect... Like, if you need 1.28 for 6400, there's no way you're doing 6600. Gigabyte AM5 boards, in my experience, are some of the more stable ones in terms of memory settings. If you want really scuffed memory behavior, you get an MSI or an Asus board. Seriously, like the first time I encountered like retrain instability was actually an Asus board because it happened within like a single reboot. Oh, it runs on 1.23. Yeah, but 1.23 is a bit low. Like, that's not low. Yeah, I don't think that's low enough that you would be able to do 6600 at 1.3. ASRock Golden Middle. Yeah, kinda, I think, for AM5. Also, really nice feature set for the prices. Like, I really like ASRock's AM5 lineup. I wish the memory overclocking was better on them, but in 1-to-1 mode, extremely consistent, great. 2-to-1 mode, not so great. Better than Asus, though. 3-to-2 syncs every 6 intervals. Yeah, that's probably why it has like a slight benefit to it. Whereas like I guess 2166 to 3200 would be like every ridiculous number of clock cycles. It like a lot lines up nicely. ASRock BIOS is so full of redundant settings. Well, yeah, because ASRock can't be like ASRock will regularly forget to remove settings from motherboards that don't physically support the functionality. Like there's an ECLK setting on my live mixers, or I'm not actually, it might be gone now, but there used to be an ECLK setting in the BIOS of the live mixer, even though the live mixer physically doesn't have an external clock gen. So it's like they literally just forgot to delete the setting because they just. It's ASRock. That's what they do. and just leave settings in there. Because, like, if nobody checked, like, the settings are just there. Like, Asus is, like, really, really good about removing things from the BIOS to force you to buy more expensive motherboards. ASRock just takes, like, the BIOS from the high-end board and then just slaps it on the low-end board. And if some parts aren't even compatible with the low-end board, they're still there often enough, which is, like, not great either. It's like the opposite issue, right? Asus is really quick to remove any extra functionality from your low-end motherboard. ASRock, meanwhile, is like, man, we don't want to spend time removing functionality, right? Like, we could just not do that. You can just have a bunch of settings that don't work instead. X690 Hero has some of the worst memory trace. You mean like memory? Oh, like the actual memory topology being some of the worst? Probably. Though I've never used an X670E Hero. I've just used I've used a B650E-F Strix, and I've used which I think is an 8-layer PCB, so that should have the same topology as the Hero. And I also use the ProArt. Neither of them post 7600. At least last I checked, neither of them post at 7600. Which is kind of terrible, because the other 4 dimmers generally do, from like ASRock and Gigabyte. ASRock BIOS is ugly? Well, yes, but you know, you can't have everything. I actually kind of like the look of the live mixer BIOS. But anyway, let's take a look at this super chat here. So we got a 5800X3D on a B550 Vision D-P. I approve of that motherboard. Pretty much one of my... Well, I wish the VRM on it was better in terms of voltage regulation, but in terms of feature set, like, easily one of my favorite AM5 motherboards. Really strong memory overclocker. Just like the VCore VR... Like, this is one thing that bugs me about Gigabyte motherboards, is that their voltage regulator configuration is usually whatever the voltage regulator manufacturer ships it with. So, like, sometimes the voltage regulation is really good, and sometimes it's some of the worst. Not a problem for, like, stock AMD, like, settings, because it's, like, at shallow load lines, it's not a big deal, because it's always going to be kind of terrible, but... yeah, if you're doing like static overclocking, it's a problem. Anyway, what is this? Micron. ECC Micron. Interesting. 18, 8, 21, 21, 40, 61. I've never messed with ECC memory. Also, thanks Maxor for the €1. Max Zor. I give up. Anyway, 18, 8, 21, 21, 40, 61, 4, 4, 16, 4, 8, 10, 620. That all looks good. Pretty typical Micron things. SCL's at 2.2. Is this Rev B? I get Rev B vibes from this, because that's a really high TRFC. Oh wait, no, these timings are kind of horrible for that VDIMM, so probably not Rev B. You can't post links. Basic rule of YouTube, you can't post links. Okay? If you're on YouTube and you try to post a link, it will not get posted. That's why I have these convoluted instructions, because you generally, like, I swear I've seen somebody succeed to post an Imgur link, but generally speaking, you can't post links. Anyway, oh, 4466 for the dual rank. Yeah, this looks good. Yeah, timings look good. Voltages look good. Does the ECC actually, like, help when you're, like, stress testing? Because that would be cool. Wait, you tried that without the link and it still didn't work. Okay, well, that's really weird. I don't know what you're doing wrong in that case. Anyway, I saw your, have noticed HW hardware errors logged when stressing, yes. Does it, like, tell you what specific, like, does it give you extra details on what the error is? Because, like, the fclk erroring out will regularly give you hardware errors on its own, but, like, specifically memory errors, like, do you get details on them? Because that would be neat. But yeah, in terms of your timings, like, I don't really have any suggestions. Like, this just looks good. I mean, you could maybe try lowering the WTRs a bit. Also, TRP might be able to go slightly lower, but probably not worth it. Anyway, so I guess I'll try a Mac source submission. Why is your formatting so weird? Why can't, like, how hard is it to follow simple instructions? Oh no. Okay, got it. Let's take a look. Daily setup, CL20. Okay, let's see. 7600, 6000. Also had a CL28 and a 6200 CL30 version. I would go with the 6200 CL30 version. Oh wait, you probably need insanity SoC voltage for that. Assuming, like, if this is minimized, then yeah, 6200 wouldn't need insane SoC voltage. 30, 36, 36, 36, 28, 68. 4, 820, 414, 500, 4, 428. Single rank, so we don't have to, yeah. 65,000 refresh interval. Yep, these are some very generic Hynix timings at DDR5 6000 on Ryzen 7000. If you can run that, like, 6200 CL30 setup at, like, reasonable SoC voltage, I would go with that, because that's just going to be faster. Yeah. Yeah, that's my only suggestion, because otherwise this is just standard Hynix timings. Anyway, so next submission. Go. Got that. Well, this is very white. Actually, it's like gray. It's like off-white. Man, you are a very neutral person, aren't you? Oh. No, this is some, like, utility I've never heard of. Anyway, let's take a look at these timings. Oh, God. Where'd they go? Oh, they're bad. Oh, they are absolutely horrendous. My eyes hurt. Not because of all of the gray, but because of these timings. Sir, this is XMP. And it's not even a fast... Wait, is this like 64 gigs or something? Oh, it's 48 gig DIMMs. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. Wait, how many of them do you have? All of this information and nowhere how many memory sticks. Or at least if there is somewhere where it says how many memory sticks, I can't find it. Oh no, it's just 2. Yeah, just 2. Okay. But yeah, these are freaking auto timings. So like we're just going to whip paint back out because I actually just I am not dealing with this. Also, this will probably be like more efficient for everybody involved. So, where's paint? So you're at 6400. I'm not going to tell you to push the frequency up because this is dual rank and that's going to be a pain. But wait, what even is this? Is this Micron? Man, I sure hope it ain't Micron. Because that would be pain. SK Hynix. Okay, cool. So we don't have to worry about Micron DDR5. Because I don't know, like, Micron has some DDR5 that actually does decent frequency these days, but, like, timings are bad. And I don't know what to do about it. So, okay, that's not big enough, and it's not a great... Oh, wait, we can just put it next to it. Yeah, we could just put it there. But it's definitely not big enough. So, 32. We're at 6,400. I'm lazy. Wait. Yeah, that should work. Don't change that. This can be 10. You're at 6,400. This is such a low frequency that I don't really know what to punch in here. I think 550 will probably work. Probably. Depending on your memory temperature, 65,000, but like I don't know. So like if your memory is running really hot, you could go like 40,000 for that. That's fine. 8. You're at 6,400, so I'd try 12. 18. 18. 10. 60. 40. And honestly, I wouldn't even change the rest. It looks like Asus does a okay job with the dual rank timings. I think they like this might go to 12. And the same is probably true down here. These might do 14, but yeah. So yeah. Also, this doesn't need to be that high. Like I'd probably just set this to like 90. 90. Oh, and that reminds me, 16. Actually, you know what? At 6,400, 12. There. I would do that. And if you have good memory temperatures, you can set the refresh interval to like 65,000. And if you have like really good memory temperatures, like less than 40 degrees, you can go over like 120,000. But yeah. There. So that's my thoughts on this. This is what I would do. I would not like try to push the frequency because it's dual rank and that's going to be a massive pain, and I'm not like yeah, I don't yeah, there's going to be a massive pain, and like it's probably not going to get much better than this anyway. Like it might stop at like 6,600 or something, in which case like well, why bother? You're going to get more like you're going to get more on like you're going to get more performance for time invested by just tweaking the timings instead of trying to push the frequency. Which is why high-end memory kits don't make your computer much faster. Anyway, next super chat. So how long have I been going? 2 hours. Okay, so I probably want to end this pretty soon. Oh no, I copied it wrong. I want to start leaning on these. What do you mean leaning? These are my lazy auto. These are my easy timings. Like... And it's single rank too, so it's like, there's really not... Like, you could try push the frequency up, but, like, this is not going to get, like, much tighter. Like, you could, in WTRS instead of 6, you could try, like, 4. And WTRL instead of 16, 14. But other than that, like... Yeah, I'm not really, like... Like, you could try push the frequency higher, but, like, I don't know where that's gonna, you know, stop. So... Yeah. You could maybe try lower like TRP a little bit, but that's not going to go much further than it's at already. TRC could be a bit lower, right? Because, yeah, like if you set TRP to 34, you might like TRC to like 64 or something. That's not going to make, like, at this point, there's not really anything that you can change that's going to make a huge difference to performance other than, like, pushing the speed up. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have much, like, this is just, like, it's my easy timings for Hynix. Like, there's not really much I would change about them, otherwise I wouldn't have made a video about them. Right? Like, I wouldn't recommend things to people that I don't, like, want them to run. That would be kind of stupid, right? To put out a video of, like, hey, here's some timings you can run, and then when somebody sends you those timings, be like, oh, you need to change all of this. Like, yeah, the main thing you could try is, like, push the frequency up. And you wouldn't even have to change the subtimings for that. You could just change the primaries from, like, 30, 36 to, like, 32, 38, and that should be enough to push to like 6200, and then you might need more SoC voltage depending on your CPU quality. Though if you're on a Tachyon and this is 24 gigabit MDI, you could try for DDR5 8000, but I don't have like a easy suggestion for that. You could try watching the video I made with like DDR5 8000 on Ryzen. Wait, I made 2 of these videos. Man, I completely forgot that I made one of these. Made this one. Oh yeah, and I did it with a 6000 rated Corsair kit. Oh man. Yeah, so you could try this. Oh man, and I did stress that for over, like, way over 24 hours of Carhu. Yeah, because I have trust issues once you get to, like, the high end of 2-to-1 mode is, like, paranoia sets in. Because it never works. Or more like, it likes to work for, like, double-digit amounts of hours without actually being stable. Or at least, like, a day stable. Anyway, so got another super chat. And I'm kind of, I don't, man, should I stop or should we keep going? I don't know. I still don't get how this is so popular. Because, like, I feel like you could basically watch one of the past streams, and, like, if you have a memory kit that came up in one of the past reacting to live RAM timing streams, you could just copy the settings from somebody else's kit. Right? Like, if there's, like, if somebody puts in a submission where it's like, oh, this is Hynix whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is good, then if you have that same Hynix on a similar motherboard, you could just copy it, and it might work, and it, like, there's a decent chance it'll work. Right? Or you could use it as, like, goals. You don't have to immediately, like, copy somebody else's, like, immediately copying somebody else's timings regularly leads to your stuff just not working. But you could, like, look at somebody else's good timings and then, like, work towards them, right? Like, slowly. Like, maybe copy, like, chunks at a time instead of the whole thing at once. Right? Like, I probably wouldn't copy the primaries first, because especially with Hynix, in my experience, that's where usually you see the most variance. But anyway, so here we have a DDR5 8400 VT3 reboot stable. That pipe prime is kind of slow. Is this not on like a, this is a KS and you're at like 7.2 seconds? I mean, you're slightly below 7.2 seconds. Like I was doing, wasn't I doing a better time than this at 7600? Oh no, I clicked the wrong thing. It's fine. Like, PyPrime is not very like this definitely has more memory. Does it? Yeah, this definitely has more memory bandwidth than my settings. But the latency, like if PyPrime is so incredibly latency sensitive that it like DDR4 reclaimed the PyPrime record recently. I mean, this doesn't seem to be running insanity volt. Wait, what voltages is this at? Does it say? No. Yeah, I was doing like 714 at 7600 PyPrime on a 14900K. So let's see. Okay, so 36, 50, 20, 50, 40. This isn't really that loose. So I'm surprised that this is, yeah, like the primaries look fine. So I don't see why like PyPrime would be upset about it. 12, 8, 704. 65,000, 20, 12, 32, 22, 24, 16, 8, 20, 20, 16, 8, 68, 44. This all looks good. Except like your TRFC. That's a, is it? It is a bit loose. I mean, it is 24 gigabit, isn't it? So I just feel like you're 800 megabits per second higher data rate than my setup is, and it's like barely faster. Which is just like PyPrime doesn't care about bandwidth that much, but I feel like it should care, like it does scale with speed, like quite a lot. So this seems like weirdly slow to me. Thing is, like, I can't even post this kind of speed, I don't think, with my 14900K. At least not consistently. Like, I think the dark sometimes boots 8400, but man, it is unstable. Thought PyPrime was low. Yeah, I wonder, are you running it real time or like, because for my PyPrime, I'm running it real time priority, and I'm also running it specifically on the 6 gigahertz boost core. So I would try running PyPrime through Benchmate, because Benchmate also does like some other things to like help benchmark performance when you're running benchmarks through it. Like I think it even makes Cinebench score slightly better than like standalone Cinebench does. Was TREFI maxed? Not on my settings. I was running 65,000 refresh interval. Oh, we got an update on the corrected ECC error. I do actually wonder about that, so we will take a look. And apparently it looks like memory unknown error source. Aw. I was hoping it would be like read error or write error or like... Actually, that's the funny thing is like you can't really detect a write error if you think about it, right? Because you don't know what you wrote to the memory until you try to read it. So if you wrote garbage to the memory and you try to read it and you get garbage back, it's like, oh, this is garbage. But you don't know if like it got scrambled during the read operation, or if you sent like, or if it got scrambled when you first wrote it into the memory, which is like, yeah, I guess you can't really get a lot of detail. But that's pretty neat that like you can get like you know, told that hey, memory error. Um anyway, how long have we we're 2 hours. You know, the last one was 3 hours. We might go 3 hours again. I don't feel that bad about it. About going for 3 hours. Um Oh no, I broke my Firefox. Okay, there we go. Okay, so next super chat. Or do I keep going? I don't know. If you wrote garbage, I mean, if you had like a 1-bit error, the parity would probably check like fix it. But I was thinking like you completely like you write like you try to write and like half of it's corrupted. Right? Like it's just completely trashed. So the parity just doesn't do anything anymore. And then you try to read it and it's like, well, you don't know if you what like if it got trashed when you wrote it or when you trashed when you read it. Was what I was thinking. Um Anyway, what do we have here? TRC-DWR doesn't exist on Gigabyte. Yeah, like this is just like a weird. The funny thing is, there is a like extreme overclocking version BIOS for the Tachyon that does have TRC-DWR, and it's just not on the retail boards because, or even the retail BIOSes, right? Because like the Tachyon retail BIOS also doesn't have TRC-DWR, and it's just like Gigabyte things, and it's honestly kind of frustrating. Um, but yeah, that sucks. And there's not really anything that can be done about it. TRP is, oh yeah, and then you also have the TRP is hard linked to TRCD because this used to be a thing on the old like Skylake to Comet Lake memory controller. TRP and TRCD shared a register. It hasn't been a thing since Rocket Lake. Gigabyte hasn't changed this ever, except again on the extreme overclocking BIOSes for the Tachyon, which is just ridiculous. Oh well. Yeah, even if yeah, it just TRP equals TRCD. Yeah, like they just haven't like reading Intel documentation is very difficult. and not part of the job of a motherboard vendor. um Anyway, let's take a look at these settings. What board is this? Z790 Aorus Elite X. Yeah, so it actually works at 7400. Nice. We got 12 hours of Y-Cruncher. Man, that is so bad. Like, your electricity has to be cheap, or you really care about stability. One of the two. Because I would not run. Yeah, like, I would not be running a wait, is your. Yeah, like, I would have not. Like, you have a 14700K. It was pulling like 260 watts. I would not, want to pay for 12 hours of 260 watts power consumption for a stress test. Then again, for me, it's mainly like for making videos, so like stakes are kind of lower because like I keep swapping systems. So if every single system was getting, and the annoying thing with the Intel systems is they pull 200 watts just running like Testmem 5 as well, anyway. So it's just like actually, oh well, the power consumption is just horrible no matter what you run. But yeah, that is some serious commitment to stability there, and also 17 hours of Testmem 5, and a day of Karhu. Man, you like if you get retrain instability, you're gonna be so upset. Oh boy, if I did this much stress testing and then it retrained wrong, I would like actually lose it. Like lose it more than I already have with Intel systems. This is like 2 days of stress testing. Man, you must really care about your data. Anyway, so yeah, I have no complaints for the level of verification that was done here because that's intense. Anyway, let's read these timings. So we got 7400, 32, 42, 42, 42, which, yeah, gigabyte limitations, man. This is as tight as you can go on a gigabyte board. 36 TRAS 2T84 A-die. Yes, A-die. 844447777. Yep, cool. That all works. TWR 19, RTP 12, TFall 16. TWR doesn't exist. It's just these two being at 42. 18 and then 14, 8, 20, 20, 12, 8, 56, 44. Yeah, this looks good. Yeah, this looks good. And it's like I have no complaints for the level of stress testing that has taken place here. Interestingly low VDD QTX right there at 1.26. And then 1.6 on the memory sticks. That seems a bit high for CL32 at 7400. Really high, actually. Wasn't I doing like... Oh, wait, no, that actually kind of makes sense, I guess. Yeah, if depending on the silicon lottery, that actually kind of makes sense. Or if you're just really lazy with the voltages and have plenty of cooling, that also works, right? Like... Anyway, VDDQ is at 1.425, which is interesting. Yeah, I find that actually quite interesting. What's your VDD2 at? I can't find VDD2. 1.58 spits errors all over the place. That might be related to your tertiaries, maybe. Or your TRRDs. Or it could just be Intel memory controller weirdness. VDD2 at 1.4. Interesting. So you have like really low VDD QTX for... And then like everything else is like... Where's SA? Yeah, where is SA? SA... What? You're at 1.6 system agent? Okay, I would not run that. .16. Okay, that's way better. Okay, that is way better. Okay, so that is interesting. So like pretty low SA, pretty low VDD QTX, and then just massive memory voltage. Cool. Yeah, like good timings, great stability. Yeah. 1.16, so 7400 is meh. My experience with system agent voltage and stability is that it's basically random. Like sometimes, like for some CPUs, you need a lot of it. Like I remember there was a BIOS on the Z790 Elite where I had to set everything to 1.35. Otherwise, it just didn't work. As in VDD, memory VDD, 1.35. Memory VDDQ, 1.35. VDDQTX, 1.35. System agent, 1.35. And if I set any of them at anything else, it was unstable. Cursed. Incredibly cursed. So, yeah, no, like, who has the lower SA for a given clock is, like, actually just not relevant as far as I'm concerned with Intel CPUs, because that voltage seems to be just, like, depends on your motherboard, depends on your BIOS version, and it depends on your silicon lottery, and then it's just, like, you know, like the one thing I would concern myself with system agent voltage is like if you have to set it super high for stability, then it's like a concern for chip longevity. But other than that, my approach to system agent is like if it works, then it works, and if it's high or low, it doesn't matter. Like what matters is that it works, because a lot of the time it doesn't. Okay, so Yeah, let's grab another submission. And that didn't work for some reason. And now it worked. So we got a B650 EA Aorus Master running 8,000 from the Aorus Extreme 8000 MDI. I never did that on the Extreme. Yeah, I never did 8,000 on the Extreme. My Extreme, like I've not even managed to stabilize 7800 on it. I got like 16 hours into a 7800 run, and then it errored out. So that's from the Tachyon video. E650 Master and was working with me fine on 7600, but latest BIOSes, it doesn't work again. 8000 CL36, all the timings work right, but not CL38. Unlocked PMIC, why? Oh, they broke that again. Yeah, so this is an issue with AMD boards, is that the unlocked voltages for DDR5, like some AGSAs, it works, and some AGSAs, it's completely broken. And I think some motherboard vendors are a bit better about like fixing whatever AMD break, like fixing the compatibility with high voltage mode. But yeah, some BIOS versions just don't have working high voltage mode, and some do. Like, what's really funny to me is, like, it got fixed relatively early after launch, and then it was broken for several months, and then it got fixed again, and I guess now it's broken again, so yay. This is, and what really annoys me about this is, like, if memory sticks came with a freaking dip switch on, like, the side to set, like, a vid voltage, kind of like, can I not get a bigger picture of that? Okay. So, EVGA used to make these power boards. It's just like a standalone VRM, so that when you bought a reference NVIDIA GPU with a garbage VRM, you could replace the garbage VRM with something that won't explode. But anyway, so it had like a controller header, but if you didn't have the controller for it, how you would set the voltage is this 4-channel dip switch over here. And basically different combinations of like switch positions would give you different voltages from like 1 volt up to like 1.6. We could put that on a DDR, if we could have that on a DDR5 memory stick, we'd never have to worry about BIOS compatibility again. Like, because it would be set in hardware. It could never break because it's not software anymore. So I do kind of I think it's kind of silly, but if I could have a memory stick where you can just set the voltage on the memory stick, man, yes please. Are you planning any videos with the 9950X? Yes, once I buy one. Because I didn't get sampled, so I need to buy one. And I'm kind of annoyed because I also like want to buy a... Like, I really want to test the X870 Tai Chi board, and it's going to probably be very expensive. So, and Arrow Lake is probably going to be more interesting in terms of actual, like, useful performance than 9000 series. So, like, I am not looking forward to it in terms of, like, money spent versus interestingness of the platform. Anyway, next submission. Oh, wait, I didn't really go over the timings here, did I? I mean, I don't really have suggestions for this, because this just sounds like you're having BIOS issues, which, yeah, like, hopefully that'll get solved someday. Oh, you can't set CL36. That was probably a voltage thing. 38, 47, 47, 46 TRP, TRC 86, 812, 32, 420, 48, 800, 97, 36. Yep. Pretty low SoC voltage. But yeah, the PMIC issue is just like, that's just AMD BIOS things, unfortunately. Timings look fine, but I've not tested DDR5 8000 extensively, and the TCL is just like silicon lottery and then voltage. Because yeah, that's been my experience with Hynix sticks. Is just like the main variance is just the primary timings, like TRCD and TCL and TRP and TRAS are all over the place. Like those are the ones where you'll find the most difference from memory kit to memory kit, and then subtimings are basically the same always. So yeah. Anyway, next submission. Got some more Ryzen stuff. What kind of Ryzen stuff? 7800X3D, 6400 CL28. Damn. On 64 gigs. Damn. 1.29 volts. Oh. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like it's still like I still think it's quite rare for a Ryzen CPU to do DDR5 6400, and if it does do DDR5 6400, it's probably going to need a lot of SoC voltage to do it. So that makes sense. But yeah, 6400, 28, 39, 39, 39, 28, 48. That is an interestingly low TRC. But yeah, the timings make sense. You could probably try lowering TRP a bit, unless this is MDI. TRD is 48, 32. If your TFAW is 32, you could leave your TRDS at 8. There's no benefit to having it at 4. Oh, okay, no, that's not true. There's like minimal benefit to it. WTR is 8 and 16. Okay, this is a bit odd. WTRS should normally be able to go quite a bit lower than 8. Like you probably can run it at 4. TRFC 500, that's cool. I mean, you could try push it lower if you want to, but not really. Like, it's not going to make a big difference. SCL's at 4.4, RTP 16, TRDWR 16, WRD 8. This could probably go lower, and then we've got 8.8 for the dual rank timings. You could try, instead of these two 8s over here, you could try 6.6 for those. And this is obviously using quite a lot of VDD voltage, and this is on a B650 E-die Light. Neat. Man, I wish ASRock would send me motherboard samples. Because I wanted to like try a B650 E-die Light for ages. Which is why I've like now decided that like I'm just committing to buying a X870 Taichi, because like yeah, there's like some testing I want to do, so yeah, like probably not, like it's pretty certain I'm not going to get sampled, so I just have to buy one. Oh well. Hynix DDR5 5600 at 1.1 volts. Don't worry about the primaries, because they're not going to go anywhere at 1.1 volts. I mean, your cast didn't... Like, yeah, like your primaries are probably not going to go anywhere, because the voltage is so low, but your secondaries and tertiaries, I think you can probably push about as low as what you see. Like, you could probably run similar tertiaries to what you see at like 6,000 at high voltage. Okay, next submission. Oh, a 5600 running 3866. Hynix DJR submitted my timings on your 4th episode, but disabled gear down mode. And it still works at 1T. That's cool. No hardware errors. Unsure if drive strength and setups are optimal. I mean, the setups, as far as I know, are just a necessity for 1T without gear down mode. And they're measured like... Like, the thing is, these are kind of a works or doesn't work setting. Because what they're doing is they're trying to, like, delay... Like, they're just for aligning commands to the clock better. So these are, like, the setup timings. Like, these are not in, like, clock cycles. These are in, like, a fraction of a clock cycle. Because the problem is... I'm going to bring back paint. So, you know, if I have a clock, right, and this is very unrealistic, or the clock might actually look like this when it comes out of the CPU. By the time it gets to the memory sticks, it probably looks more like this. Just because of, like, attenuation and like the edge being really nice and sharp and, like, square. It is not good. Like, that doesn't last for very, very long distances in copper on PCBs. So basically the edges will start, like, rounding off. But anyway, so if you have your clock like this and you're sending a command, so with 1T, the memory stick basically has to register a clock cycle from here to here. I mean, register a command from here to here. So your command is going to be like this. So as the actual signal might be something like that, right? And the memory stick basically has to measure it reliably in this amount of time. And now the problem is that, but with 2T, you have, like, a much longer window to measure the command. So if the command is, like, kind of wonky in its alignment, like maybe it's here, right? Like, you have all of this time to measure it, and this is probably not accurate, but, like, you have forever to register the command correctly. But if you switch to 1T, then it's like, well, now we can't measure the command because it's, like, not there yet. So the setup times basically move this, or I think they move either the clock or they move the command. Like, they move one relative to the other by fractions of a clock cycle to get the alignment right so that the memory sticks register the commands. So the setup times are kind of like it either works or it doesn't. As you push the frequency higher, you would potentially find that you need, like, different command setup times. If it's not optimal, right? Like, if the alignment, like, you might find that the alignment that is okay at a low frequency is not okay at a very high frequency, so you need to get the alignment closer to perfect. But as far as I know, 56 is, like, the typical setup for 1T. Gear down mode disabled. No errors, and then drive strengths. These look fine. Like, if it works kind of approach for this. Because the thing with the drive strengths is, like, these control, like, how sharp the rising and falling edges of your signal are. And it's, like, unless you have an oscilloscope, you can't actually... And a very, very, very expensive oscilloscope. And then some very fiddly probing techniques. Because But basically, like, you can measure if your drive strength is, like, perfect. But measuring that is extremely expensive. So for, like, drive strengths and terminations, you really are just kind of, it's like guess and test. And it either works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, well, then you don't use those settings. And if it does work, then you just keep using those settings. And as you push the memory frequency higher, the margin for what does and doesn't work is going to get smaller. So you might find that, like, what works at 3866 doesn't work at significantly higher frequencies. Anyway, the timings themselves, I mean, I'm guessing you're not changing those, but 16, 8, 21, 19, 21, 58, 4, 4, 16, 2, 8, 10, 4, 60, 2, 2, 12, 5, 12, 2, 4, 6, dual rank. Yep, this looks good. So, yeah. Next submission. Oh, we got a funky one, I think. It says 5600 CL24 in the in the link. Now, why would you do this? Does your motherboard oh. Is that motherboard actually that bad? Oh. Wait. 1.64 VDIMM, 1.6 VDDQ. I did the suspicious firmware update for Gigabyte AM5 boards to unlock PMIC again. But that can break your board. The IDA just for the meme. Okay. Wait, you mean the EC firmware update? That is a lot of SoC voltage for 5600. Yeah, this is like an absolute ton of SoC voltage for 5600. This doesn't make any sense. Do not do this. This is dumb. This is bad. I'm surprised that I'm not seeing some random 69 in these settings somewhere. 24, 35, 35. I'm pretty sure you could run lower TRC DRD than 35 at 5600. 44, 22, 14, 48, 420. Like, we got a 420, but like, I was like, where's the 69? Like, you could have, instead of like 65,528, you could have had 65,069. Right? Performance-wise, it wouldn't change anything, and you'd get another meme number instead of just TRFC 420. RDRDSCL at 4. This is single rank. It's on 8 gig DIMMs. This is terrible. Do not do this. I mean, if you're just like experimenting with memory settings, then sure. But like this, like if somebody told me, yeah, I want to run this every day, I'd tell them they're stupid. Because this is really dumb. Like maybe if you were doing this to like run extra low SoC voltage to reduce like SoC power draw, then like, okay, maybe I could kind of understand. But in that scenario, I'd probably actually tell you to try run 2-to-1 mode, unless the board really sucks, which this might, because this is like the cheapest. Like, is that a 4? I don't think it's a 4-layer. I think it's still a 6-layer, but it's like all. Yeah, I think this is still a 6-layer, so it should be okay with memory. Yeah, it's still a 6-layer. So 2-to-1 mode, you might be able to run like 7200 or something. And if you're going for low SoC voltage, that's actually like a. Apparently, this supports 8000. I mean, it could. Like, it might have the exact same memory topology as all the other 6-layer boards that Gigabyte makes. But yeah, so these settings are very meme, and do not run them. So yeah. Okay, next submission. But like seriously, you could have snuck in a 69. Missed opportunity right there. Now, what's fun with Intel systems, you can actually have your entire TREFI just made of 69s, right? You can just have actually no, it would have to be like 69069. Because yeah, it can't be like unfortunately it can be 6 digits, but it can't start with a 6 of 6 and then be 6 digits. Anyway, next submission, we've got a 3900X with some Nanya Samsung. What? What? Oh. Ew. Why? Okay, no, I can see why. Obviously, I guess you don't want to run just 16 gigs of memory. But ew. Yeah, because this runs like garbage at 3200, 16, 17, 17, 17, 35, 53, 6, 6, 16, 4, 12, 492, 4. Well, at least your dual rank timings are set correctly. But those TRRDs are sad. Like, does TRRDS really not do 4? It can't boot lower? Oh, man. Yeah, apparently that Nanya memory is terrible. Anyway, let's take a look at the other system, which is a 7800 X3D running 6000, 30, 35, 35, 35, 38, 34. That TRC is sus. I've had some weird interactions with TRC on AMD's DDR5 memory controller, which is why I don't usually try to push it that low. Anyway, TRDS 44, but like if it works, you know, I'll let it pass because yeah, the TRAS and TRC are two very strange timings that like they have weird behaviors depending on like which CPU they're on, and like sometimes also depending on the memory. T420, WTR24, well 214, cool. TWR48, cool. TRFC 463, SDLs at 42, RTP12, TRDWR13. That's actually really low for TRDWR. WRD2, and TREF 50,000. Nice. Reasonable SoC voltage. I'm surprised you're not pushing the fclk higher, but I guess like better safe than deal with like annoying instability. Yeah, so this looks good. Yeah, don't really have any complaints for it. Reasonable voltages, reasonable everything. Boot 6200 but unstable. What? But you only need, you don't. It's not like you're using that much SoC. Like it is on the high side for 6000, but it's not that much. So I would have thought 6200 at like 1.3 would basically just about work. But probably, yeah, not really worth the. Yeah, probably not really worth the extra voltage in that case, though. Anyway, is the performance benefit of 16 gigs A-die at 8000 worth it over 24 gigabit M-die at 8000? So the difference, so 48 gig is a huge improvement in capacity for someone who uses virtual machines. No. They perform about the same, and 24 gigs is actually easier to stabilize at 8000. Yeah. Like in the recent video I did with the 7600 on Intel, right? Like it's really clear how like the 24 gig DIMMs, I'm running them at less voltage than the 16 gig DIMMs, and there's still not much of a performance difference between them. Because like 24 gigabit M-die is like marginally slower on a couple timings. It's like generally slightly looser TRCD, generally slightly looser TRP. Actually, yeah, all of the primaries are like generally a little bit looser, which really doesn't matter that much. Most of your subtimings are the same, except for refresh. Refresh cycle is just longer. And that's not really that big a deal when you're running high TREFI. And by high TREFI, I mean anything north of like 50,000. Yeah, so not a huge difference. Yeah, the TRP is quite a bit lower, and TRFC, it's like 100 cycles on Intel. On AMD, it's a bigger difference in TRFC. That is true. On AMD, I think the TRFC difference is bigger. But on Intel, it's minimal. Anyway, we're basically at 3 hours, so I am going to do one more submission, and that'll be the end. Yeah. Yeah, no, unfortunately, there was already submissions that came in. What do you mean been a while? I'm pretty sure I did a memory timing stream last week. Oh, I didn't have face cam because the CPU was doing its very best to turn my flat into a sauna. Yeah, like it says 8 days ago. Oh, but it's been like 3 weeks between face cam appearances. Okay, I guess. Not like anything changed. Anyway, so let's take a look at this last submission. Hynix MJR 1822 42 1.4 volts 2x16. Jumped from a BCLK 12400F to this CPU. This board I can push 13600K to 5.8 gigahertz stable, but M.2 dump. Oh, drops to Gen 2, so I gave up. Oh, because of the BCLK overclocking. Okay. That's unfortunate. All right, so this is a... Oh, it's the B650 MSI board with ECLK. These are the same settings, aren't they? This is just like more zoomed in. So let's take a look at this one. Someone stated that 1.35 causes degradation to the IMC for SA and VDDQ. Well, it's really hard, like personally, I've sort of stuck to the rule of up to like 1.45, but I don't really have like solid evidence for that. It was just like a guess. So, you know, and like if you're, and it's not like you're going to be losing a ton of performance between these two, so you know, like err on the side of caution. Because like let's see. So this is 42, 66, 18, 23, 23, 28, 6, 10, 600, 60,000, 13, 7, 28, 8, 18, 8, 4, 18, 18, 8, 4. Is this dual rank? It said MJR. That's single rank, isn't it? And then here we have 41, 33, 18. Oh, it's the exact same timings. Yeah, that's not going to make much of a difference in terms of performance. I think your WRRDs could go... Wait, no, it's Hynix. It might actually need to be that high. Yeah. All right, who's next? What? Yeah, honestly, like, and you could probably try tighten the 4133 a little bit. Like, you might be able to drop TRCD a bit. You dropped the read to write already. Why is your WRD suddenly looser, though? This is 3628 versus 3430. Which doesn't really make any sense. Yeah. As for, like, the timings, I mean, I'm surprised that you're not running TRD, like, SG4. Because, like, I don't think Hynix MJR... Well, I've never used it, but, like, DDR4 generally does TRD SG4. Like, that's just a thing that it does. Like, the vast majority of the time. So... Yeah. You know what? This isn't a particularly cool submission, so I'm gonna grab one more. Alright, so which one was this? Oh god, this link is so long. Perfect. Ooh. Oh, it's a Z790 Apex. Okay, well, I guess at least I guess this might be a good one to end on then. We have the classic 2 hours of stress testing for Intel users, because if you run stress tests any longer than that, they don't pass. I'm joking. Somewhat joking. Anyway, we got 8400 on the Z790 Apex. 3447, 4459, 2T, 12.8, 700, maxed out refresh interval. So is this water on like is this water cooled RAM again? Just shoved voltage into the sticks. I could have done 1.6 on the DIMMs, 1.23 SA, 1.4 TX, and 1.4 IMC. Man, must be nice to have a good memory controller, because you can just like throw voltages at it and it just works. Whereas I've tested literally like every possible voltage combination and it never works. Anyway, 32 TFall, TCK 21, 16.8, 9, okay, 16.8, 20, 20, because you can't have odd tertiary timings. That's just like a thing that doesn't work. 16.8, 60, 42. These are really tight. 51, 52. Cool. These got, yeah, 32 on the memory sticks, these gotta be water cooled to run that refresh interval. They are water cooled, aren't they? Oh, the person who is the person who submitted this even still here? Anyway, I think that'll be the end. Wait, are you kidding me? Somebody came into chat, asked how to submit timings. And then they got a response that says it's either in the description of the stream or mentioned in the beginning of the chat/stream. I just... Like, maybe if you're on mobile, you can't read it, but, like, if you're on mobile, you can't read anything. So I don't even know why you would watch this on mobile. Right? Like, if you can't read these instructions, you can't read these timings either. So, like, what are you getting out of the, like, what? I'm on mobile and I can read it. Yeah. Like, I do, like, I really do wonder sometimes, like, do people actually watch my videos? And the answer is no. Because you can have instructions that are taking up, like, a good, I don't know, 20% of the screen space. And they just don't read them. Should I make them red or something? Is it in the description? No, the description is full of links. Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, the description just has a bunch of links. I watch this on a toaster. Wait, it literally doesn't have a screen. Anyway, that'll be it for this this stream. And there will be another one. I'm not gonna commit to promising another one next Monday, but there should be another one next Monday. So, you know, and I'll try like I'll announce, like I announce like the streams in the community section a few hours in advance. Usually like 2 hours in advance. So yeah. And I also post about it on like Twitter. And yeah. So anyway, um, yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all of the super chats. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways that aren't super chats, which is much more efficient than the super chats, there's a Patreon link. I got a Bandcamp. There's like a game I'm working on, which is free by the way, so that's not like you don't have to pay for it. And oh yeah, there's the Teespring store where you can pick up. Actually, it's spring now, isn't it? Where you can pick up like shirts and hoodies and posters and other merch. So yeah, that's it for the stream. Thanks for watching and goodbye.